So I've got a day's work in London, so I thought I would come up a bit earlier and pay my respects to the Queen, who's died, obviously, as we all know. And it's a very sad experience, really. It takes me back to my youth. And my first early memories of royalty really was the Silver Jubilee when I was a kid, and they gave us all a cup, and we had a street party, and all my grands and nans and aunts and everybody in all the street were all out celebrating the Queen's 25-year Silver Jubilee. And my family are very patriotic. We go back very many years. My mum's family to the 13th century English, right back to they were servants for the Duke of Beaufort down in the West Country in Gloucestershire. And my grandfather, Laws, my dad's dad, he was a chief fire officer in London. So right around here behind me down there, all the docks and everything, my granddad defended this area. He was based up in Tottenham in Edmonton, which is North London. So it's mainly that area, and then the docks and London Fire Brigade during the Second World War. I'd love to have known his full story of exactly where he was, but the docks and all around London getting bombed by the Blitz. And then, Christmas time with my family, sitting around watching the Queen's speech and everything. And yeah, it was always a very special time for me as a child, loving the history of England and Britain and all what we've achieved over the years, the centuries of discovery and culture, law, shipping, merchants. The history just goes back beyond. And this place here behind me, Trafalgar Square, England always expects. It's always struck a chord in me, and it's not about being dominating and destroying anywhere else, but it's about celebrating who we are, the British people, and as an Englishman, we feel disenfranchised just as much as everybody else does. It seems to be that we're public enemy number one, and anyone that has any sort of allegiance to British history is some sort of lowlife. But I'm very proud of my past, very proud of my Britain. There it is on my shirt, I'm very proud of being British. And going on, I was down there, when Lady Diana got married, I in fact was stood right behind me there when I was a kid. I'd been down the Mall, which is behind me over there, and all my mates sodded off and left me, and I ended up fainting actually because I hadn't eaten all night. And we dossed up around the West End, up behind me, up here around Soho and all that. When we were young skinheads, we used to hang around here, Leicester Square, Trafalgar Square on a Saturday. It was all part of the fun, down to Carnaby Street and everything. So, the royal times, it just reminds me of all those years of growing up. And then, then when I started travelling, I went over to India, Sri Lanka, and I remember seeing the old buildings from the British Raj all around. I was in a place called Bangalore, and I walked into this post office, which was a Victorian post office, and it was just all the royal emblems and that were all still on the walls. And I was talking to Indians about it, and the educated Indians were really fascinated by the whole royal family and the British and everything. And it was at the same time as Lady Diana got divorced, and they were in shock. They were in absolute horror that that this divorce had happened, because out there marriage still means a lot. So my history. And then I remember living in London when Lady Diana died, and I was at a party, and I was in Kensington, and these foreign girls came into the kitchen where we were standing and said, Lady Diana's been in an accident. And I thought, nah. Anyway, we turned the telly on, and we're all just standing there in shock. And and then the next morning she was dead. And I was living up in North London, up in Highgate at the time. And I remember the day of the funeral, and I walked over the park where I always took my kids, and it was absolute silence. The whole of London was full of people, but no one was speaking. Absolute silence throughout the whole of London. And it's the same sort of experience today. I've just walked up from Victoria up through Green Park, and there's just thousands and thousands of people there, and it's just really respectful, everybody calm, and it's not touristy, it's not people all taking selfies and all that, and just saying, I was there. It's got a genuine feel about it, I really love it. It's I think it's what Britain is. We're a dignitary, we're a decent people, and there's people here from all over the world, but it's mainly British people. I can feel all around me. It's English voices, English accents everywhere, and God love the Queen. Longest reigning Queen of our history, and I'm glad that I was part of it. I was glad that I saw it. Never met her. I saw her once up on the balcony the year that Lady Diana got married. We walked down there, But that's about as far as I've ever got to the Queen. But you know, it's in my heart, in my culture. God love you.